Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and this is my new channel, The Sewing Gardener. That is something I never thought I would say. I'm not very keen on talking on Instagram stories, but here we are. The reason I am bringing this vlog to you, if my nerves will allow me, is because I am hosting a new sewing challenge. Some of you may have seen the post on Instagram. It is called the Sew Skin Summer Challenge. It runs throughout May to coincide with the Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month. And I wanted to give you a bit of background as to why I've decided to do this challenge. And then I've raided my pattern stash and my wardrobe to give you some ideas of things that you could make that I feel would work well for this challenge. So the reason I wanted to do the challenge is because back in 2012 I had a mole on my inside of my left thigh that started to get an edge to it. It wasn't huge, it was just different. So I went to my GPs and they said they didn't think it was anything to worry about, so they referred me to dermatology, who also confirmed that it was nothing to worry about. I have no doubt at that time that advice was correct, so I've got no issues there, but I'm just trying to give you the background of my experience. So then this mole became part of me, and when I saw dermatology back in 2012, I can't remember what they told me it was, but it was a certain type, and it would grow. They said it would grow, it would probably change colour a little bit, but eventually it would disappear. Now it did all of those things. It grew, it changed colour, but it didn't disappear. But I wasn't worried about it because I'd already been to see somebody. But roll on to 5 years, to 2017, and I was in the garden wearing a pair of shorts with my daughter, my eldest daughter, and I had my legs up on a table and she was sat to the other side of me, and she took one look and she said, "Ugh, Mum, what is that on your leg?" And I sort of looked down and I said, "Well, it's just my mole." But I looked at it and I thought, actually, this is not how it used to be. This is sort of changed slightly. So I went back to the GP. The GP again referred me to dermatology, but they said that they, from experience and the things that they'd seen, they didn't think it was too much to worry about. So I went to dermatology, and I used to work upstairs above dermatology at the time. So I was at work and I just popped down for my appointment, and the nurse went out and got the consultant, and the consultant came and they sat me down and they said, "Actually, we have a theatre slot this afternoon. We would like to get that out. Are you able to attend?" So I was like, "Oh, okay." They said, it doesn't look right. We just want to get rid of it. So that afternoon, I went across to our main hospital in Hereford, and they pretty much just melon balled it out. That's how I would describe it. They took a small margin around it and scooped it out. But, I had like an indent in my leg, probably sort of around that sort of size, which was stitched. They said they would send it off, get, the word of just completely lost my mind of where they send it to. But anyway, to go and get it analysed, and that would take about 2 to 3 weeks to get the results. So they contacted me, and it's because I worked upstairs from dermatology. They contacted me on a Monday to say, "We'd like to make an appointment to see you. We've got your results back." Well, at the time, that was my last day at work before we went on holiday to Florida for 2 weeks with the family. So they said, "Oh, well, just pop down and we'll see you." But we haven't had the MDT meeting about it. So I popped down. They confirmed it was a melanoma, a superficial spreading melanoma. And they weren't sure, because they hadn't had the MDT at the time, which is a multidisciplinary meeting of people to discuss the treatment that you might need. She said, "I definitely need to have it excised again, so a much larger proportion to be taken away. Potentially, if it spread into that surrounding tissue, they would need to do then quite a large skin graft." So we then went on holiday that night. We drove down to Gatwick to go to Florida. I didn't tell my children. Obviously, I told my husband, but I didn't tell my children in that holiday. I've never used so much sun cream in all my life. My children were caked. We ran out. We had to buy additional sun cream in Florida. And I can remember this sun cream. I bought Factor 50 for my daughter, and we were by the pool, and it was quite overcast. And I was like, well, you need more sun cream. So I was reading a book, and she, under the shade, and she turned around and she said, Mum, I don't think this is rubbing in. And I turned to look at her, and she looked like she was about to swim the channel, or that somebody had literally emulsioned her, because it was the thickest sun cream. But anyway, so that was the basis of the holiday, and the children were pretty much like, didn't really quite understand why I was so paranoid. But then we came back. I got the appointment in the August to have the additional surgery. Max Fax did it, and he's done a lovely job actually. And so now I've got quite a large scar. They cut a wider margin and definitely a bit more of an indent on my leg. But I was very lucky. It hadn't spread, so I didn't need the skin graft, and I didn't need any further treatment. So, you know, that was quite a relief to me. But I didn't deal with it because we'd gone on holiday, and because I sort of just closed the door on it. It was like, right, that's gone, and I just closed the shutters. So I was then under dermatology for, I think it was longer than 5 years. It should have been 5 years, but it was longer because in 2018, they then discovered that I had two basal cell carcinomas at different times of the year. I had one on my upper chest and I had one on my back. So they've both been removed. They were excised, they were basal cell. So not the, whilst it's a skin cancer, it's not the deadly kind. And then I've also got all these dry patches on my skin, and they are called solar keratosis, which is basically, the dermatologist told me a lot of elderly people have them because their sun has experienced too much UV exposure. So the reason, when I was younger, obviously being fair, I used to burn quite a lot. Sun cream is not like it is now. My parents, no disrespect to them, probably didn't make me wear it. I was pretty much always in a t-shirt to go in the pool, that sort of thing. They'd just do that, but then t-shirts ride up and you burn your back or whatever, and the water obviously dilutes any sun cream that you might have. But also in my 20s, I was a bit of a sun worshipper. I mean, who doesn't like a tan? You know, but you can get it in a bottle now. That's the best thing. You can get this wonderful fake tan now that makes you look brown without the dangers of the sun exposure. But at the time, when I used to go away with girlfriends, they were all much darker skinned than me, and would have much lower SPF. I mean, I used to start on holiday, being the lily white that I was, with factor 15. I wouldn't use factor 15 now, but that was my high factor. So for the first few days I'd use factor 15, and then I'd drop down to either a 10 or something else, you know. So ridiculous when I think back. And also I worked abroad. I did a summer season in Corfu, Cassiope, and I couldn't get any browner. And that's not me boasting, but I just couldn't. I'd had so much exposure to the sun that I couldn't get any browner. I got to a base level, and that was as far as I could go. And then also in my 20s, I did use sunbeds. I particularly remember having a course of sunbed treatment just before our wedding, which was in the October, just so that I didn't look completely white against my dress. So I've not looked after my skin at all. And obviously have suffered the repercussions for that. So that is why I wanted to just raise awareness. If I could prevent anybody having the experiences that I have had, then that's a winner. I mean, I think most people are aware of the dangers, much more of the sun now. You know, the sun cream, I don't even know. Well, I certainly don't look. I get factor 50 and 30. 30 is the lowest I'd ever go. If there's no 50, I'd get 30. and it's regularly applied, and applied before we even go out to the pool, that sort of thing, 20 minutes before, to make it soak in. My face cream, my daily face cream, has SPF 40 in it. I wear a hat permanently in the sun. I like to garden a lot, so I'm always, you know, when it's hot, you don't want a lot of clothing on, but I'm always in like a linen type shirt with a hat, and I try and cover my neck if I'm bent over, because obviously if you tie your hair back, your neck can be exposed. So there are lots of little things that you can do to make you more safe in the sun. Now, at the same time, I don't want to be a preacher. I don't want to, you know, you must wear this or you must do that, because that's not my at all. I just wanted to tell my story. I can only speak from my own experience, and I would like to prevent anybody having to go through that. Because also, when I say that I didn't deal with it, I didn't deal with it. I closed the door on it, and then probably in the October of 2017, it was as though somebody had turned a switch on me, and I had hyper awareness of stuff. It was horrendous. I had to wash my hands a lot more. I had a big thing around food, and I think it all stemmed down to the fact that I didn't want to be ill. You know, if I thought food wasn't cooked properly, I wouldn't eat it because I didn't want to. If there was if people had a big bowl of sharing crisps or something at work, or a box of chocolates, I wouldn't eat them. If they'd been opened, I wouldn't eat them, because to me, it was, you know, them could be germs. So that was the other side of it. But anyway, and that is why, even though I've wanted to do this challenge for a long time, that's why I couldn't do it. Because I didn't want to open Pandora's box of stuff. But anyway, the basis for the challenge is that you can sew a garment with your skin in mind. And what I mean by that is you could sew a bag. You can have to put your sun cream in to take with you, like the bestie bag or a little rucksack, or, you know, anything like that. You could sew a hat to protect your head from the sun. But any garment needs to cover a large proportion of your skin, and like maxi dresses, or things like co-ord sets, or palazzo pants, long skirts, jumpsuits, wide leg trousers, those sort of things. So the rules of the challenge are, so it's running throughout May. You can make your garment and post it anytime during May. When you do post it, you need to use the hashtag SewSkinSummer25 and tag me in that post. As I say, it can be done throughout May, and I will hopefully keep blogging. I work full time, so it is, you know, difficult for me to keep up on top of things, hence why I wanted to do it throughout May, not just in one hit at the end. So I will regularly log any entries, and all the entries are in with a chance of winning some prizes. I've had some fantastic sponsorships. I put a reel up today of everybody that's donated a prize. I need to do a roundup of what those prizes are. There's money off gift vouchers. Some people have also offered me discount codes to run throughout May as well. I think I've got 2 of those, so not lots, but I've got 2 of those. But the prizes are fantastic. So thank you so much to everybody that has supported this challenge. And if anybody else wants to, please just message me. Okay, what else haven't I said about the challenge? I think that's it. But all the details are on my Instagram about the challenge. Yeah, so let's go through some patterns that I've picked out. And if I can do this right, it's a very big jumble of mess here, but I'll show you things that I've made. So I've picked out a few, and the first few are probably going to, yeah, well, there's lots of favourites, but I wear these regularly throughout summer. So I've got the Paper Theory Zadie jumpsuit. Brilliant pattern for summer, and you can make it a long sleeve version or a short sleeve version. Now I have 2 of these, and this is the first one that I made, and it's in like a linen-y animal print. Now I actually made this wrong, I've got to be honest. When I was cutting it out, I don't trace my patterns, I cut straight out. And I got the wrong lines at some point. So I couldn't understand why the front legs didn't match the back legs, because I only did it on the front legs. But I did sort it, and it's very nice, but it's a sort of a 3/4 length, this one. But a very good pattern for summer. Another jumpsuit pattern that I've got here. I mean, who doesn't love a jumpsuit? I do. In fact, I did think about doing this as jumpsuit challenge, but then this is better. I've got the Holmer and Howes Lennox. I think they call it a boiler suit. I haven't got my glasses on. Yeah, boiler suit. Now you can make it unelasticated, I believe, like the front. Elasticated, or there's a little, if you can see that there, a little top version. So my version of that is this, and I elasticated it. I didn't to start with, but it was very baggy. So yeah, and it's got pockets. So that's that one. Another one that I've got, which is great for Jersey, and this one is the Named Clothing Kilo wrap dress or jumpsuit. Now I've made both the dress and the jumpsuit. The jumpsuit, there's no, oh, the line drawings are on the front. When you make the jumpsuit, you have a seam in the front to be able to get it on and off, I'm assuming, whereas the dress doesn't. So just bear that in mind if you're using a patterned fabric. I have got mine up here, it's over there. But because mine also had a very low back, and if you look at the photographs on Instagram, you can see that it shows my bra strap, which isn't ideal. And then another one which I absolutely love, which is Secret Pajamas, and I haven't brought it up, but I've got two versions of this, is the Sirocco jumpsuit. Now you could make this in a long legged version or a short play suit type thing. Now I have on mine lengthened, because I made them to wear on Christmas Day. I've lengthened the sleeves on both of mine, so I've got long sleeve versions. But this pattern, this is one of the comfiest patterns, as is the Zadie jumpsuit actually. So they're those. What else have we got here? You could make a co-ord set. So you could do Friday Pattern Company, the Saturday skirt set. I've not made the top, but I have made the skirt. Did I bring it up? And it's a fab skirt, actually. Did bring it. Bear with. It's this. Again, I don't think I've posted this on Instagram, but I made it last year, and actually it's a very nice floaty skirt that I made in a viscose. Pockets again, if you're a pocket lover, great. Yeah, so that's a really lovely one, and actually I would like to make the full version. I was supposed to do a collab with Jess at So What If I Sew, but that was a couple of years ago. Sorry, Jess. Perhaps we should do it now. But yeah, I think people have said that this top, I'm not a shower of the midrifty person, so I'd probably lengthen that quite a bit. So there's that, but you could also make the Tilly and the Buttons Esty. Now I've made the short version of this, but I have seen people make the full version and all in one, and it looks like a faux jumpsuit. Really good. And the other co-ord set is the Friday Pattern Company Saguaro set. Again, I've made, I think I brought it up, I've made one full version of this. You can also just make the top by the look of it, which is here. This was my version, the full version. Again, I lengthened the top so you don't get to see my midriff. Nobody wants to see that. But these trousers, I've made a couple of pairs of these. I got some chambray, like a denim chambray from Rachel. Oh gosh, I've forgotten her. Stitched Up, forgotten her handle. Sorry, that's my age showing there. Rachel Stitched Up. And I've made the trousers, and these are the comfiest trousers ever. I tell you, I've wear them travelling, and I wore them all last weekend. If we go and sit on a plane, I wear them. They are the loveliest trousers. So that's those. Now dresses, I've got a plethora of dresses. I do like a dress. But we'll go with the Friday Pattern Company Wilder gown. Now I've picked out this. I've made 2 dresses and 2 blouses in this. Now my first dress, I'll show you the difference in them, is, well, I'll show you. I'll just get them. They are, yeah. So this was the first one I made, and I lengthened the top, and I didn't elasticate this one, but I think I sized down in it, because it's a very nice flowing dress, great for summer because it's quite airy, loose fitting. So, and this is in a cotton sateen, but you could use obviously woven fabrics like a linen or just a plain cotton. But it's a great dress. But then I made it again in this Lady McElroy fabric, and I don't know what I did in it, but it just did not look right without the elastic. So I've elasticated the waist on this, just so it cinches it in a little bit, because I don't know if it was the darkness of the fabric, but it just did not look right at all. So there's that. And then the blouse version, which you could actually make for Sew April Blouse right now, which is being hosted by Cloth Edit and Sewn on the Time. So that's one of my blouse versions. I didn't bring the other one up. And I made this for So Frugal this year. And I elasticated the sleeves. I cannot... This, it has 3/4 length sleeves. I've got incredibly long arms. Don't like a 3/4 length sleeve. A couple of reasons. If you put it into your jacket or a cardigan, which I often wear because I'm cold, the sleeve, they're saying that, and I'm wearing 3/4 length sleeves now. It rides up like this, and then you can't get them down because you can't get up the sleeve. So I lengthened sleeves on mine. Didn't lengthen it on this. This was a free pattern. Is it the Maison Fauve? Tilia? Might be wrong, but this would also work well for Sew April Blouse. What else have we got? Oh, I couldn't find my pattern for this, but you could make the Fabric Godmother Fleur dress. This is my version of that. Long, lovely dress for some of this. Got pockets again, and it comes in a blouse version too, and it's got long sleeves. So I've made the blouse version for my daughter in a really nice brain engage anyway, in a really nice white fabric. Can't remember what the name of that fabric is. Sorry. Charlie Kaftan, one of my favourite summer dresses. I've made both versions. I'm going to show you on that. Long or short. I think there's 3 versions, and I can't remember what the long has ties. And I've made, I think one's more gathered on the line drawing that. I've got my versions here. Now I've made the long one twice. The one, I don't love the fabric of the one, but I don't like it on. So I'll tell you why now. So this was my shorter version, and this is great for the pool. If you want to go to when you're under your sunshade, and you want to go to the bar or anything like that, this is just so easy to pull on and walk around in, and it's great. So that's one version. Love this version. This is my longer version. Love this. This also has pockets. That's how I like pockets. Don't think I'll put anything in them other than a lips of maybe, but there we go. That's my long version, and the long version has slits up the side. And then I made this in this beautiful Fabric Godmother fabric from last year, and it's got some gold in it. But when I put it on the fold, the way this dress is cut is when you put it on the fold, you actually, the front piece is not as on the fold, because you join this bit, and when I wear it, the flowers are in the wrong place, so I tend not to wear it. Well, I've worn it once. I would like to alter the top. I have got a little bit of the fabric left over because I don't really want 2 big flowers just there. That's that. Another dress, I don't think I brought this one, yes I did, is the Soho House 7 Romy Gathered dress. Again, you can make it as a blouse or a lot shorter version or a longer version. I've made the longer version. Ooh, it came in a kit from Hey So Sister, I think, this one. So that's that. It's got a bit of elastic in the waist just to pull it in. And again, it's got some patch pockets on the front. This dress is great, actually. It's nice and floaty for the summer, so it's nice and airy. But in the winter, I layer it. I put polos, tights, boots with it. So fab dress, that one. This one I didn't bring up. Yes, oh God, I did bring it up. God, I'm so good. The Named Clothing Rita shirt dress. I think this is my version. Excuse the ironing, lack of ironing. It's been squashed in my wardrobe. It's my version. Again, this is a brilliant dress and I'd like to make more. So that's lovely. And then the other one I've pulled out is the Pattern Fantastique Valley dress and top. I've not made the blouse, but I've got two versions of the dress. And I've made one in a viscose and one in a cotton. It's a lightweight cotton, but the difference is the viscose is very drapey, really great. This is also a great dress if you're on holiday in a hot climate and you're going on a day trip. This is great because it's sort of quite fitted at the top, but then it flares out, so it's nice and cool. Whereas the sleeves on this are a lot more puffy. This is my cotton version, but it is quite lightweight. If you had a more structured cotton, you'd get much more of a poof on your sleeve. But there's nothing to stop you lengthening those either, I would say. And I think, did I bring some blouses up? I don't know. Yep, I did. Mainly to tie in with So April blouse as well. So blouses, you could make, where are my patterns for those? The Soho House 7 Regalia blouse. That's a great pattern. There's different versions, long sleeved, short sleeved, and then you can have some waist ties on it as well. I didn't do the waist ties on mine. That's my version. And I didn't have enough fabric when I did this, so I had to use a separate piece of fabric for the yoke. There's that one. You could make the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie blouse. You could make it in the dress or the blouse actually. And all the blouse ones, the So April blouse challenge is on at the moment, running throughout April. So you've still got time to enter that. This is my Marnie. It's obviously Halloween fabric, so I only tend to wear it during October. There's that, but the sleeves on these are great. And then, can't remember what that blouse is called, so we won't even do that one. This is the Nina Lee Bakerloo, and I've got two versions of these. This is lovely, but I much prefer, I've made it in a navy double gauze, and that's absolutely fantastic. So, would work well for summer too. And that is why I've done my YouTube vlog. So, I hope I haven't rambled too much, probably have, but as I say, this is the very first time I've done a vlog. You'll probably get lots of pictures in my head when I was getting my garments. Apologies, be nice in the comments. But yeah, I hope you all get involved in the challenge. That would be great. I have been asked, so I've had a couple of messages about whether there's fundraising involved in the challenge. I put it on my reel earlier today on Instagram. I'm linked with Melanoma UK. Now, they're a fantastic charitable organisation, and I only wish I knew about them. They really help patients. They're for patients. Now, I didn't add it as a requirement for the challenge. I know money's tight for a lot of people, and I didn't want to. I wanted to be incredibly inclusive with this challenge to raise awareness. So it's not a requirement, but if you wanted to make a donation, I do have a fundraising page, and the link to that is in my bio on Instagram, but I will also put a link in the comment below if I can work out how to do that. And what else was I going to say? There was something else. Oh yes, a couple of people have also reached out. Other YouTube vloggers, much more experienced than I am, have reached out to say would I like them to do a vlog. So if anybody else would like to do one with a pattern roundup or what you're going to make around the challenge, that would be amazing. Just let me know, DM me, and I can put it in. So yeah, that's it all from me. Thank you very much. If you liked my content and you would like to hear the ramblings of a menopausal 50-year-old, then do subscribe, because I'm obviously going to be having to do this again. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye.